Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl in your mouth while you're sleeping.
Do you want to win any of these items on your screen? If so, be sure to watch the whole video, leave a like, and comment the hidden message. And with that being said, let's get right into the video.
Times The Simpsons predicted the future. No one can deny that The Simpsons is one of the most iconic television shows of all time. The cartoon series was created by Matt Groening in 1989 with the help of the Fox Broadcasting Company. It focuses on the lives of a small family with 3 kids set in the suburban town of Springfield. Each character is based on a member of Groening's own family. The rebellious son of the Simpsons family, Bart, is actually supposed to represent Matt Groening himself. He originally created the family as part of a series of animated shorts featured on The Tracey Ullman Show back in 1987. After a few years, the show was eventually picked up by Fox to become a regularly scheduled 30-minute program. Many celebrities have since contributed to the show's success. Before replacing David Letterman as the host of the talk show Late Night, famous comedian Conan O'Brien wrote a few episodes in the early years of the show back in 1990. Fellow actors like Seth Rogan also helped make The Simpsons into what it is today by writing a scene or two. The Simpsons are now the longest-running sitcom in American history, with over 30 seasons of satirical comedy that is already set to broadcast yet another season in 2020. The show only gets better as you get older. The series has won too many awards to count over the years, including 34 Primetime Emmy Awards. It was even referred to as the greatest television show of all time by Empire. Since the show's first episode, The Simpsons has become a huge franchise. David Silverman, one of the directors of the series, produced a successful movie with The Simpsons in 2007. In that very same year, a video game based on the show was released too. Not only is The Simpsons praised for its hilarious content that makes fun of society and humanity, but for the writer's abilities to predict the future with crazy accuracy. We're not sure how, we're not sure why. All we know is that The Simpsons know what's going to happen before we do. Number 1, the attack of the tiger. It wouldn't be an episode of The Simpsons without a little violence, and that's exactly what happened in 1993. One of the scenes featured 2 magicians working with trained animals for their show. It was pretty clear that the writers already had an idea of who these magicians were supposed to represent. The cartoon characters were identical to the famous duo known as Siegfried and Roy. The German-American couple was well known in the magician community, especially for their work with white tigers and lions. They traveled the world together for their show from the Caribbean to Paris. There was one show, though, that didn't go as planned, and The Simpsons knew that Siegfried and Roy would meet their unfortunate fate eventually. In the episode of The Simpsons, the magicians were attacked by one of their white tigers during a performance in a casino. The same thing happened to Roy Horn in the middle of a show in Las Vegas in 2003, 10 years after The Simpsons episode aired. Although Horn had performed the trick hundreds of times before with the same white tiger, something set the feline off. The tiger, named Montecore, ended up lunging for Horn's neck and dragged him off the stage. Horn was immediately sent to a hospital, but it was clear that he would sustain severe injuries for the rest of his life. The career of the dynamic duo came to a sad end after that night since Roy Horn was no longer able to perform. Fans were thankful that Horn made it out alive, but they were definitely mortified after seeing the vicious attack. Avid viewers of The Simpsons couldn't help but notice the scary connection between the episode from years before and the incident. Number 2, the Olympic win that no one saw coming. One of the major qualities of the Simpsons family is their laziness. Homer, the dad of the family, usually wants nothing more than to eat donuts on the couch all day. But in 2010, Homer and his wife Marge decided to spice it up and shoot for gold at the Olympics. Somehow, despite Homer's eternal beer belly, the 2 won first place in curling at the Vancouver Olympics. They even beat the opposing team from Sweden. Not only was this a shock to the cartoon crowd in the scene, but for audience members in 2018 after the exact same thing happened in real life. In the Winter Olympics of 2018, the United States men's Olympic curling team took the gold medal that the Swedish team was expecting to bring home that night. Not only did the Simpsons predict that the United States team would beat Sweden, but how they beat Sweden. During the episode, Marge and Homer worked together to defeat their fierce competitors even though they were originally behind. It all played out the same way in real life too. The United States started off below the curve, but the team quickly picked it up. The writers predicted everything: the exact Olympic sport, the exact way the United States would win, the opposing country that they would win against. We don't understand the magic powers of these writers, but we want to learn their ways. Number 3, an intellectual bet. In all the mischief and insanity of the show, The Simpsons always have one person to keep everything civilized: Lisa, the genius daughter. Just like geniuses do, Lisa is always following the scholars and intellectuals that make the biggest contributions to society. In 2010, for the premiere of season 22, Lisa and her friends decided to make a bet over the next Nobel Prize winners. Their friends recorded their predictions on a piece of paper to organize the subject category. They bet on the potential winners for subjects like physics, literature, and chemistry. Many of the names were unfamiliar to us, but one name stuck out in particular. Under the prediction for the Nobel Prize in Economics, Milhouse, the nerdy best friend of Bart who happens to be in love with Lisa, wrote that he believed Bengt Holmstrom would win. Holmstrom is a professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology from Finland. He's well established in his field, especially after winning a prestigious award from the Central Bank of Sweden in 2016. Just like Milhouse guessed, he received the Nobel Prize for Economics. We wonder if Bengt Holmstrom knew as well as the Simpsons characters did that he would receive such an honor. We're not sure if the bet was still on between Milhouse and Lisa 6 years later, but it's pretty clear that if someone has to pick a winner, it's whoever wrote this scene for the episode. Number 4, the presidential prediction. At the turn of the century in 2000, The Simpsons decided to predict the future by literally putting their characters in the future. In the episode of Season 11, we fast forward and Lisa goes from child prodigy to the first female president of the United States. When in a meeting with her fellow cabinet members, she briefly mentions a budget crisis created by the previous president, Donald Trump. At the time, Trump was running for president as a member of the Reform Party. Instead of continuing a career in politics, he took on the role of hosting the reality television show The Apprentice, a show that featured a panel of judges that critiqued the business skills of a group of contestants. Eventually, as we all know, Trump decided to give up his part as host and ended up winning the 2016 presidential election to become the 45th president of the United States. After the episode aired, most viewers didn't even notice the comment Lisa made about the former president. It wasn't until years later when this prediction actually became a reality that started to freak out a little bit about Lisa's look into the future. Once the writers began to see more and more people talk about this scene, they decided to take matters into their own hands and address the audience's concerns. As part of a running joke, Bart Simpson has featured in the theme songwriting some strange phrases on the chalkboard of a classroom. Each episode usually has a different sentence for Bart to write, showing that he is almost always in detention since he's such a mischievous kid. In the episode that aired a week after Donald Trump was declared as the President of the United States, Bart was writing on the chalkboard, "Being right sucks." Clearly, the team of writers and producers on The Simpsons wasn't too happy about this prediction. We're hoping that maybe this means the writers were also right about Lisa Simpson being our chosen candidate in 2020. Number 5, predictions that are out of this world. The Simpsons not only can predict the future of our world with scary accuracy, but the future of the universe. In an episode back in 1994 of Season 5, Homer and Barney, Homer's best friend who is notorious for always being drunk, are recruited by NASA. The agency decides to sponsor average citizens to bring regular people into space in hopes of making space seem more interesting to the general public. Although Barney is booted from the project, Homer gets the opportunity to blast off into space and explore the unknown. Less than 10 years later, another non-astronaut was launched into space in 2013, just like the classic cartoon characters. Even though the real-life project wasn't sponsored by NASA, the idea was basically the same. A deodorant brand known as Lynx ran an international contest for anyone and everyone to go from zero to space hero. It was a little more selective than the process in The Simpsons. Contestants had to undergo a set of interviews and difficult tests. Eventually, 23 winners across the globe were picked. On this list included United Kingdom's Oliver Knight, a 25-year-old man who beat 3 fellow British competitors and more than 87,000 contestants overall. Knight definitely had more prior training than Homer, since he happened to be an operations engineer who was pretty familiar with the mechanics of flying to space. Either way, we hope Oliver Knight got to enjoy a delicious bag of potato chips hundreds of miles off the ground, just like Homer did. Which of these predictions is the most surprising to you? How do you think The Simpsons learned to predict the future? Let us know in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tell us what you want us to talk about next time, and click the bell icon to be notified for when we put out more crazy content. Until next time.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.